So a test.
Okay, and I'm also
Okay.
recording. So let me see. I'm just gonna go on Facebook and see if we're actually
Yeah,
live.
I'm actually there right now, and I can see that.
We're live?
Yeah.
Yay! Oh, this is so cute. I'm so excited. Okay,
Well done.
so thank you. I was just like, technology. If it doesn't work,
Great.
it doesn't work. Okay.
It's good.
I think we're live. Cute. I'm so excited.
Great.
Okay, let me
I was
share.
trying that.
If you guys can share, please do share so we can get um
Oh, sure. Just let
yeah,
me
let me
kind of
get this
share.
link
Oh,
copied.
I don't have my phone here with me, so maybe when I'm
Don't
done,
worry.
I can share
Oh, too bad.
I'm
Why
that. Daniel.
I'm trying to share it.
Are we?
I'm also trying to do
Share it
that.
with everyone. With everyone.
Do we
Share
have
with everyone.
yeah? Do we have
So
Kezi
I should
around?
tag you guys.
We were.
Yeah.
No.
Well, we have a couple of minutes until we actually start, so this went faster than I thought. So, um, yeah.
Okay, if we're not starting now, please give me a few minutes. Let me go for a pen.
Yeah, absolutely. So you guys can like
Mm,
get your
thank
stuff
you.
ready now that we have the technology together. We're gonna be starting at
Yeah.
11.
Okay, sure. That's 3 p.m. GMT.
Yeah, 3
Okay.
p.m. GMT.
Okay.
I think we're live.
I think you can share it. Oh, Total music. Yes.
As well as couple.
Hello, am I still online?
Yes, you are.
Okay, because I can't see anything, so I was thinking that.
Yeah, everybody's video is off, I guess.
Okay,
Yeah, but you're still on.
all right, that's fine. One iPhone X, this plus a small, yeah, really good. But what download the iOS stuff?
What's on this class? Yeah, but France about
Anyway, because Omoja is producing
the
it.
Muja for Tanam thousand. Was that one? That we is the Amazon swap.
Yeah,
They had them. That's a lot.
yeah. We compare 8 and 8 plus, and so 8 plus in the 8 plus in the should I yeah. Any 8 no high. Oh, but you know what on there like I will not be like moving on with them. Like how when they bring
I'm catching a mean.
tell me talk a say about or talk a say about
Yes.
because that one no matter the new ones come
Henry's room.
it will be similar size. Whether it's S you know so 6 plus and then I'm doing the same plenty it's me matching.
Mommy, I'm doing a webinar for y'all. Okay, guys. So as we're starting, I just want everyone to get some, basic ground rules so we're all good. When you're not talking, please make sure you're on mute because there's this weird echo sound that occurs when you're um when your thing is on and someone else is talking. Yeah, we're gonna start off with introductions of everyone. So if you want to think about, your quick elevator pitch that they taught you, um, yeah, be ready to share. And yes, this is gonna be fun. It's gonna um last up until 12. Yeah, up until 12. It doesn't have to last that long, but I definitely have questions for everyone that will probably last up until 11:30, and then after that, um, the anyone is free to ask questions, or we can just continue on asking questions if we haven't finished in time. So yeah, that's basically it. And I think um, our Facebook Live is going well, so
They're not even on.
Just say if he can hear you.
Daniel, unmute it, unmute it.
That we spray.
Daniel, he's not on. Daniel,
Yes,
Daniel.
I'm on. Yes, I'm on.
I said unmute. What time are you going?
For the wedding.
Yes.
It's this an hour program. So I don't know.
Are you serious? I thought it was 30 minutes.
I don't know. I think what's the time now? It's 3 here, right? It's almost 3 here.
Yeah.
It's almost 3 here. Yeah, and
Yeah.
I think it's an hour or two. So, but when we are about to start,
An hour or two.
I'll meet my no an hour. It can be more than an hour.
Oh, then I can only do 30 minutes.
Yeah, I mean when it's time for you, I think you should let Dana know about it.
Where is she now?
So you use the private chat you see that chat stuff, the chat thing
Where?
on the right. For me, I'm using the phone, so I don't
Where?
mind. Good.
I'm using the phone too. I don't know where it is. Oh, I've seen it. Private chat.
Hey, hi everybody. Um, so welcome. We are on live
Hi.
and
Hi.
hi, how are you?
Hi.
Afua, is that can you like put it closer to your face? Or no?
Okay. Yeah. Is it better now? Still?
Yeah, this is good.
But I
This is
can't see it
better.
for.
You can't see me. Hi.
I can see.
Can you see me, Daniel?
Yeah, if
Yeah.
I can't see you.
Is it better
I
now?
can't see you.
You can't see her?
You can't still see me. Oh, okay. Give me a
No, I
No.
can't see
second.
her.
Let me just elevate a bit.
Hi, Kezia.
Is it better now?
Hi, you.
Hey.
Good. No. Afua, we
Still
can
can
see
see
you.
me.
Oh, let me see.
No, we still can't see you.
Better now.
No, I don't see you.
Can't see you.
Well, as you try to figure this out,
Is it
I
better
just want
now?
to welcome everyone to our first Career Booster webinar series, and this is on Bank of America. Um, this is being held and sponsored by Yielding Accomplished African Women. And if you have not heard of us before, we're a nonprofit based in US and Ghana that aims to put more women in finance and technology through trainings, through our 12-month fellowship, and also through helpful events and programs such as our Career Booster webinar. series. And so I'm Diana Wilson. I'm the CEO and founder of Yielding Accomplished African Women. And I'm so happy that you guys can be joining us all today. I want everyone to just start. I guess I will start with, Daniel, since he's the loner in the group, on giving us your short bio, not short, but, a good bio on who you are, where you went to school, what you majored in, maybe some of your passions. And yeah, we'll start with you.
Thank you very much, Dana. Welcome to everyone. Once again, my name is Daniel, and Daniel Asante. I'm a Ghanaian. I completed University of Professional Studies in Accra, Ghana. I majored in accounting, a first class student. So this year, I joined Bank of America Merrill Lynch for the summer internship program in London. But prior to joining Bank of America Merrill Lynch, I was with Premium Bank Ghana Limited, in Ghana. My passion, I really like accounting and finance. So from high school, I know that I want to major in accounting and finance. So when the opportunity came for me to apply to Bank of America, I was really interested in joining Global Market Division because it's purely finance. Yeah, and I'm back here. So currently I'm on my final level of the ICAG, that's Institute of Chartered Accountants Ghana, and I'm almost done with it. So I'm actually in school to complete the program in November. So hopefully, if I qualify as an accountant, I'll proceed from there.
Thank you. Welcome, Daniel. Can we have Afua next?
Hi everyone. Yes, I hope you can all see me now. Hello.
Yeah,
I
we
just
can
can't
see
see
you,
you.
but
Yeah,
it's
great.
okay.
You can see me now. Wonderful. Yes, great. Okay, I think my network is a little bad, but yeah, my name is Ifua Dudua Ifa, very Ghanaian name. I graduated from the University of Ghana Business School last year, where I majored in accounting and also graduated with first class honors. I interned with the bank this summer with their Global Transaction Services division, and I was able to get a full-time offer with them, so I'm glad about that. Also a part-time student of the Institute of Chartered Accountants Ghana, where I have one more paper to complete my process of chartering to become a chartered accountant. I'm passionate about lots of things, a couple of things. Like Daniel, I also like accounting and finance. I'm looking forward to a time where I can actually lecture accounting and finance. So that's like kind of long term, but then yeah, I'm happy to join this group. Hello.
No.
Yes,
Hello.
Ifwa.
Yeah. Am I still on?
We can hear you.
I think I
Yeah,
should
you're on.
be.
We can hear you.
Yeah. Yeah. Did you guys hear me, or do I need to do it again? You can see me
We
too,
did
right?
hear you. We heard you. Yeah, we heard you.
Great. Great. Yeah. So that's me. I think Diana left. My network
Thank you very
is
much.
really
Yep.
Yeah.
She said
great,
her
great.
computer went down.
Okay.
So who's next? Aurelia, Kezia, who's next?
I really can go if you want.
Oh, Kezia, you can anyway. I think you should, Kezia.
Okay. Okay. Hi guys. My name is Kezia Fosu White, and I graduated this year from Ashesi University. It's a liberal arts school, so then I didn't exactly major in some of a business administration degree. And this summer, I worked with Bank of America Merrill Lynch in New York, and I was with the Global Markets Division, specifically sales and trading. And yeah, it was a pretty exciting one for me. I think I had like amazing people to hang out with. We did some really cool stuff. We had fun, and so it was amazing to get an offer at the end of the day after all the fun we had. And my passions, I love art totally. I love being African. I love Ghanaian stuff. I love writing. I love paintings. I love music. Like everything arts. It definitely is me. I mean, it's amazing. I think it's surprising that I like finance as well. I think it was one of the things that made the most sense to me. And yes, I think that's pretty much about it for me. And I'm pretty excited to be on this. So hopefully, things I say can help anyone who wants to find out anything else. Yeah, that's about it.
Great, great. Has everyone went? Sorry, my computer just like died and then came back
No,
on.
I think I'm the last person to go.
Okay.
Yeah. Hi everyone. My name is Aurelia Abna Atiko, and I graduated from the University of Ghana that's last year, studying computer science and statistics. And I joined Bank of America this summer with a global marketing and corporate affairs. Oh my God, the best team ever. But in the end, I got an offer elsewhere. Funny enough, it was a very, very interesting internship for me. I think Kizzy and I share a lot in common because like had so much fun with my team, and then in the end I still got a job, so it was pretty interesting. Whilst waiting to start my work with the bank, right now focusing on my NGO which I run. I train young entrepreneurs on how to pitch their business ideas and also how to be investment ready, so that when they can attract investors both locally and internationally. My passion is entrepreneurship, anything technology, governance and leadership, and then arts and music, basically. Yeah. Thank you.
That was great. Thank you, everyone, for sharing a little bit about yourself. So, the first question I have is what do you think it takes to make the initial step to get in big companies such as Bank of America? A lot of people are like, I've applied a million times, I sent in my resume, but what specifically did you do? Did you reach out to a recruiter? Did you go to the events and follow up with people after you got business cards? What was your in with Bank of America? How did you actually get in touch with them? And so we can just keep the same order. Daniel, can you please start?
Yeah, thank you very much for the question. Um, before I start, people think such a big firm, it's quite difficult to get an opportunity to do an internship with them because they feel, in a way, people might have some thinking that there are lots of people applying, and when it happens like that, people are better than me in some things that I'm not good at. I feel the first thing that you need to do to know more about the bank is to talk to those who have at least done an internship there before, so that they will give you how to, you know, get the opportunity to do an internship. So the first point is get to know those who have interned before, those who currently work there, especially those who use the African program, because the process is quite different from the other interns. So that's the first thing. The second thing is that for whatever division that you want to apply to, you should have passion for it. It shouldn't be something that someone is pushing you to, actually apply because everyone is applying to Bank of America, so you have to apply. So if you want to go into tech, you should have passion for technology. You should let them know that I actually love it. I like what I'm about to do with you, and that maybe it doesn't really matter if you've done projects in tech or so before, but you should let them know that I like what I want to do with you. So if you love it, it will actually you'll be able to convince them. If you love something, you can actually convince someone that you love it. So it's something that is really, really important for that bit. And finally, in order to get an opportunity to join Bank of America Merrill Lynch or any other global firm, you need to be confident. Right? They want to show that you have confidence in yourself. You shouldn't be timid. Nothing should intimidate you. You should know who you are and what you stand for. And I think by the end of the day, you'll be fine. Thank you.
Great.
And then, so for each question, I think I'll do three responses. So, Afua, can you give your next response?
All right, great. Thank you so much, Diana. Um, I think Daniel has said a lot in getting an offer to a big firm like Bank of America. Really, you need to believe in yourself. One thing you should also notice that the bank, so don't be afraid of the fact that you're a little different. Don't be shy. Don't be look down on your differences or the things that make you different. Just recognize that the bank is actually looking forward to diversity. So then appreciate the difference that you bring to the team to make it better. And then apart from believing in yourself, always have that wants to learn. Be that person who is always showing your recruiter, interviewers, whoever, your team members that you are always willing to learn. Someone who's able to take on feedback and then react in a way that is positive. So if your team members tell you that you need to work on this, you take the fact that okay, really they have been here for a while, they've seen a lot, so the advice is advice you can actually count on. So be that person who is always willing to learn, willing to take on feedback. And then lastly, I'll say that be that person who shows that you are interested in people because you're going to the bank to work with people. They need to know that you're going to actually work with a person and not just a robot or anything. You need to show that you have personality, that you are actually a person. So yeah, I'll show that you have that spirit of learning and interested in learning new things and can take on feedback, and then also be a person that can be related to in the work environment. Really. Yeah. So summing up, that would be like teamwork. So thank you.
Thank you. Kezia, do you have, can you give your personal answer to this question of how you get like, what's the steps you take to get a contact, a connection at Bank of America?
Okay. So I think a lot of it has been said already, but I think what I'd probably just add into it is to note the people to start talking to. I think it's really important. I think I already mentioned it. Knowing with like adequate information, because sometimes everyone is sort of someone like really person. They will let you know that okay, I find the right people to talk to for example, just simple, like smart people. They say all the time, 12 hours a day. I want to make sure that like I'm like you enough. Research and professional stuff like really count. Like I mean, so professional people. The very simple, casual stuff that the role in those. So that's the. Yeah, I'm good. Thank you.
Great. So I think my little 2 cents on this as well, because I did get a couple offers from Bank of America, and I think LinkedIn is a great tool. I think we all have a great opportunity with LinkedIn that many of us don't use. We create our profile, and then that's it. So one, you should make sure that your LinkedIn is up to date and it looks as professional and as, concise and as descriptive as you possibly think you can make it. And then after that, you should use LinkedIn as a tool. You can search Bank of America under people and find out through your connections who do you know that knows someone who works at Bank of America or who just works at Bank of America. And people are very nice and very willing to discuss their experiences. For example, this webinar series, I personally haven't met any of these people ever in my life, but they all have agreed to go on a webinar series through YAW and speak and give you guys advice on how to get into Bank of America. And so I think everyone should, just kind of take the leap of faith and use LinkedIn, use your connections as a tool. Okay, so now getting into the recruiting process. The application is pretty straightforward. Did you guys write any cover letters or make your application unique in any way? And if so, what did you do to make your application unique? Start off with
Yeah,
Should I
I
go?
think I'm.
Abna.
Okay. With the recruitment, okay, so for me, my story is quite different because I didn't really know so much about Bank of America. I just got the link from a friend and I decided to just try it because I thought it was a great opportunity. But during the application process, I realized that I had to put in a lot if I wanted my application to stand out. So the advice I would give everyone is when you're applying to a division, make sure that your CV is tailored towards that. Don't make sure that everything you put on your CV is useful to something related to the division. That's one. Two, the essays you would write, make sure that the essays also like talk about the experiences that you've had and why those experiences will help you thrive or really excel in those or in the division that you're applying to. Because when you do that, it makes it easier to stand out because everyone is writing so many things. People are putting everything on their CV. But if you tailor it to the division that you're applying for, then it makes your application stand out. Aside that, it doesn't necessarily mean that if you're a versatile person and you've done other things, you shouldn't include them in the application. But you need to know how to make those experiences important and useful to the division you're applying to. And lastly, um, use your connections, as Diana said. There are so many people who've got the opportunity to do their internship. Find out from them, send your essays to them to review. Find out from them if the essay is good enough or your application is good enough. If you do that and they give you good feedback, then it means you have a higher chance of getting into the bank to do your internship. Yeah. Thank you.
Well, I think Abna gave us a very holistic answer and has said most of the things on my mind. It's really about that unique personal value proposition. Everyone has one. Even if you don't think you're relevant to the Bank of America or you're not necessarily a finance and accounting major. I was a sociology and women gender studies major at the University of Virginia. But I knew that my liberal arts coupled with my experiences in past financial firms, I can always position or explain to you and describe to you why I would make sense at your firm. And so even if you aren't, the cookie cutter applicant, like, oh, I did finance or I did accounting and I'm in this accounting club and I do this finance thing, I invest on the side, whatever it is, you just have to make sure that you make yourself personally relevant to the company and relevant to their growth because that's what really matters to them. Um, Time is flying. So I think I'm gonna just ask one person each question and then we'll go from there. So um, now that we talked a little bit about the recruitment process, can anyone, I think I'll let Afua do this, give us a little description about the interview and some tips or tricks that you would have for someone going into, these very, tough interviews that are very selective and they ask you a lot of critical questions.
I'm not sure if it's me who's supposed to answer the questions or someone else.
No, it's Ifwa.
Yeah, Ava.
Oh, cool. Right.
Okay, great. The line is breaking a bit. So just to confirm the question, tips that I would give anyone from my experience, right? If I got the question correct, because my line is kind of breaking. Hello?
Oh, hello. Yeah, for the interview
Yeah,
specifically.
yes.
Sorry. Mhm.
Interview specific tips, right?
Yes.
Great. Yeah. So one thing I would say from my experience is that like Daniel mentioned earlier, have someone who's actually been through the African program to kind of, do I say, guide you through to give you tips and then inside information. Because if the person's actually been there, it can give you all the tips that you can actually make use of. So I had a friend who went to the bank for his internship in 2017. So for most of the things I was doing, all the essays I wrote for um, the cover letter, the question that was supposed to answer in the application, everything, I kind of passed it through him. So for my interviews also, I would do mock interviews with him. And then I also had, apart from him, I had another coach who was actually in the bank or still working in the bank, who I could also go to for help. So then I would do mock interviews with her. So we spend like 1 hour doing mock interviews and then come back with the feedback that we've had on that first session. We'll do another mock interview. So just keep doing that till you actually get it right. Also get your financial news also on point. I mean, I think regardless of what division you're actually applying to, it'll be good to know what's happening in the financial market. It'll be good to know what is happening because the point is that it's broad and then it has a way of impacting whatever division you find yourself in. So then that's the tip I would give. As many mock interviews as you can, read as much as you can concerning financial news and what's happening in our world today. And you should be good for your interview, really. Thank you.
Absolutely. And thank you so much for that really good holistic answer. And she touched on this, but when you are going to an interview with such a big company like Bank of America, try not to prepare the day before. You can do that and it may work for you, but the people who have a seamless interview, the people who you can tell have the knowledge are people who have been preparing since they put in their application, right? Those mock interviews are very helpful. Reach out to people again if you want them, and definitely we can help you with that. And really make sure to stay current on financial news. You can't really work at a bank if you don't understand the global market. You can't work at Bank of America specifically that has offices in I think every continent in this world, well, almost every continent, and you really don't know what's going on in the global market. So please work on always doing that. So now that let's say you guys have all gotten the interview, you passed, you did well, you studied as you all did, and you got the internship. What steps did you take to prepare for the internship before you actually got there? And I think I'll let Daniel answer this one.
Thank you very much for the question. Before, after I get an offer, it's actually you get an offer quite early before you go to start internship in June. So probably around I got my offer around January. So from January to June, it was quite a time. So you use that time to prepare, read the financial news. It's very, very important. So it's something that you need to consider when you are starting the internship. You need to read the financial news. That's one. So you need to know more about the culture of the company as well. So the culture of Bank of America is very important because it's an open culture. You need to read about how that one works so that you can fit well into the bank. Another point too is that you need to know about the particular division that you are going to. You need to read more about that market. So I was in global markets. You need to know more about fixed income. You need to know about currencies, commodities, equities. You need to be very familiar with all those things related to the division that you are going to, because immediately you start, the game is quite different. So you need to and do. It's actually it's time to do that from the time you get it offered. So the time you start internship, it's around 3 to 4 months, which you can use to do most of the things. Thank you very much.
Great. And so, with that answer, thank you so much because that was really good. A lot of people don't understand that when you get the offer, that doesn't mean you have made it. It means you have an offer to work there, but that doesn't mean you have a full-time offer or another internship job offer for the next summer. So once you get the offer, that should be a signal to you that you have a lot of work to do in the upcoming months because you have to prove that you can be the person that they thought you would be based off of your interview and your application. So, Kezia, I would love for you to give us more information about any formal training programs that Bank of America took you all through and what people can expect when they actually start their week on the job as an intern.
I'm sorry, can you say that again? There were a few like breakages like along the way.
Yeah, so if there's any formal Bank of America job training that they give you all, could you just please describe it and say how it helped you? And then also, when you got there the first week or the first day, how was your experience? What can people expect? What would you give advice for them to do, come prepared for, etc.?
Okay. So for the very first week, which I think is particularly helpful, we had, I mean, from coming from Ghana and generally Africa, we had an Africa orientation just to give us a sense of what we're about to get into. That was like for starters. And later, when the other interns from around the world came in, we had like a training program, and that was more like it would require for the entire program. With the stuff on finance and accounting, with the stuff. So we were introduced to Bloomberg. We were giving our B unit terminals and Bloomberg. Then for people that the combination of like sophomores and rising juniors and rising seniors, and so they try to. So even if you hadn't taken class in school, the sessions sort of gave you an idea of what was happening. And there was also a part that introduced you to the firm generally. So like the market cap, how they're doing in the financial markets generally, what their impression or reputation was on the outside, giving you a really good sense and making sure that even if you didn't do enough research or you weren't as prepared, like Daniel mentioned, before getting into the firm, you go okay at the end of the day. First impressions on the job. I think one thing I realized, and that might really be very skewed to New York again, was that even though it's a very banking environment, it's fast paced. Everyone expects you to know stuff. I think people are really helpful, and people really want you to succeed the right way. And what I learned very early was that it wasn't necessarily about you knowing everything, but it was about you being a person.
I think her video went off a little bit. But she answered the question basically. So, I think we'll move on to the next question. And anyone who wants to take a stab at this can. So, I wanted you guys to reflect on your internship. Being in an internship and having, a lot of other interns around you, you easily tell like who's doing well, who's kind of struggling, and you can tell why people are doing well and why people are struggling. And so, what personal traits, what actions do you think a successful intern at Bank of America must have for them to not only do well during the internship but get the offer?
Is that my question, or anyone can take that?
I'm sorry, I
Hello?
didn't hear you.
Is that my question, or anyone can take that?
You can take it if you want.
Okay, so again, I had like a very, very unique experience because for my division, that was the first time we had an intern. We didn't have any expectations. It was the first time they were ever taking an intern. But when I realized that basically everyone and then the job. Very important as you get into the bank or you get the opportunity to do your internship. You prove to people that you are curious. You want to know more about the bank and you want to know different ways of getting the job done. Another thing that I did that I think really helped me was that I didn't limit myself to one specific division. It was the first time I was going to work in an investment bank, and I knew not so much. So I used the internship as the opportunity to learn about different divisions. So I met with the technology team, I met with the leasing team, global markets, commercial management, every team that crossed my mind. I went to sit with them a day or two to find out what they actually do in the bank. And I think that was what really helped me because in the end, you want to really find where you will thrive. Sometimes when you're applying, you think, oh, global markets is my thing. But when you get in there and you start doing the work, you realize that, okay, that's not where I want to pursue a career. And for me, that was what happened in my situation because I was working in a division I loved. It was amazing. But in the end, I was like, no, this is not where I want to pursue a career. So I had that understanding with my manager, and she gave me the opportunity to learn from well. And if they like you, they another thing is, and I mean, no pressure. I know I'm really scared of asking questions, but I'm not typical of questions every time. But you can know things when you ask the right questions. And when you ask questions, make sure that the next don't ask the same question. So basically, as much as possible to meet as many people as possible. Find out what all the lines of businesses do. You might not be able to meet every single line of business, but at least 2 or 3 so that you get a deeper understanding of what the whole investment banking structure is like. Secondly, you need to, another thing that I think I did that helped me was I took advantage of every opportunity. I went for different club meetings because I liked it. I was volunteering with women in technology and that helped me learn a lot of different things. When you go for the internship, don't put yourself in a box. Explore. That's why you're an intern. After you get the full time, you won't be expected to do all those things. And then if you miss out on learning from other teams or meeting different people, and then you get the full time, you realize that you've wasted a valuable time that could have been used to build a great network. So yeah, that's my advice to everyone.
Perfect. And I know we've been talking a lot about all the great things that your internship gave you and how many great experiences you had. But we all know that corporate world, especially global firms, are hard. Your internship is going to be tough. You might not be sleeping as much as you thought you would be. You may not be eating as well as you were before. So can you guys describe some of the challenges? I think we can give this to Afua. Some of the challenges of being an intern at Bank of America and ways that you can overcome these challenges or leverage people or fellow interns to overcome them.
Great. Thank you so much again for the question. I think that depending on your division, your challenges or the challenges you may face will not be the same as the next intern. But then I can talk from my experience. For my division, working hours were actually great. So we had like a 9 to 5, and then I would close by say 7 thereabouts. But then if you have like a division like IB where you have to be there like 9 to 10, it's like working hours can actually be a challenge for you. For me, I'll say that sometimes networking was great, and I loved to network. But sometimes it could get a little tricky when you look at other interns. So I'll say that just be yourself. Um, I mentioned before the diversity is the bank is all about diversity. So pride yourself in being different. In as much as you want to be the best version of yourself, don't want to be I don't know, you want to be good, just be yourself, the best version. So comparing yourself to others, you see people doing all the networking that can be done, and you feel like, okay, so this person has met like 10 people, and I've met like 5 people. I mean, what am I really doing here? Am I really going to get the job? Or this person asks all the questions, and I really don't speak much. But then you need to show that curiousness, you need to show the spirit of learning and all that. But then just be yourself, really, because if you're not being yourself, really, you won't have energy to be someone else for too long. That's the truth of the matter. You can pretend, you can do all that, but then if it's not you, you won't really have too much energy for too long to be another person. So just be yourself in overcoming all those challenges. So then knowing the balance. So try and network as much as you can, but then don't overdo it. So that now you're not really doing the work you were given to do, and then you're just overdoing that end of the whole equation. So be yourself, network as much as you can. Also be willing to learn. So if you're not that kind of person who's really going to show curiousness, show that interest that you're looking forward to learning, it might be a challenge, because now when you meet people, they will think that you're not interested, and they will think that you are not, yeah, maybe this is not really for you. So one thing that we always say, that this internship is a 10-week interview from the bank side and also from your side. From your side, you tell if you actually fit into this environment, if you actually also fit in the environment. So then it can be a challenge not being yourself. So I'll just say be yourself, and then push yourself as much as you can, but then don't lose yourself. I hope I answered the question. Yeah.
Yeah, that was such a great answer. I think you touched on a lot of great topics. And that actually leads into my next question that anyone who thinks they have, a significant answer can respond to. How did you prepare every night going into the next day? Because a lot of people during this 10-week interview, as you said, they don't really understand that it's a 10-week interview still. And you have to go every day, the next following day, better than you came the previous day. So how did you guys do that and manage your time around doing that as you had all these projects and assignments? So how did you continue learning as you went through? And anyone can answer.
Okay.
Um,
So I'm back. Oh,
uh,
Hello?
so
okay.
from
I
my
think
point
Daniel
of
was
view,
speaking.
yeah, I'll talk about it from my point of view. It's I was in global market division, and markets opens at 8 a.m. and closes at 5 p.m. But as an intern, you're expected to be there before 8. There are various teams in global markets. Some teams do their meetings by 6:30 a.m. So it means you have to go earlier than that time, which means you have to wake up early. And it was quite, a challenge if you are not the type of person that you are used to waking up early. It becomes a challenge because going, leaving home around 5:30 a.m. to 6 a.m. will be difficult. People feel they don't really get enough sleep because you need to get to work before market actually opens, do the meetings, brief yourselves about what happens in the market and all sort of that. So it's actually one you have to prepare yourself psychologically because it's something that if you are not used to it, you break down easily. People actually, forget. They think that, oh, after all, I can't come and kill myself for this job. They just relax. But if you really want the job, you need to discipline yourself. You need to tell yourself that I want to get this opportunity. If I'm supposed to wake up at 5 a.m., I wake up at 5 a.m. and I do my work. Other than that, you really, you will not, people will feel you are not serious for the job because they don't joke with their time. And you need to follow up with start things. So first of all, you need to be psychologically fit. You tell yourself that you want to do this. Secondly, you need to work about how you go out and what your team does the time that your team does the meeting and the other things around it. So it's quite difficult. You need to work on the project till midnight. I remember working with a project with Aurelia around 12 midnight. It's if you really want the job, you need to work harder for it. It's very, very important. Thank you.
Anyone else want to give an answer? I know Afua had something to say.
Yeah. Okay, just to add to what Daniel said. So I always use my experience so that it makes it more practical. So for me, because I'm learning from different teams, I was visiting, learning from them. Hello? You know. Okay, so I'm sorry about that. My network. Thing. So I had to be very conscious of time. So before I go to work or before I go to sleep, I know exactly what I'm doing the following day. So I plan to tomorrow I'm meeting this person for this specific time, and then I'm spending this number of hours with my team, my original team, and then spending this number of hours with these other teams. I had to be very strategic, and what I did that also helped me was I used to send all those things to my manager and then tell her, oh, you gave me the opportunity to learn from other teams, so this is my plan for the day. And then she's like, oh, that's great. But if she has like maybe a meeting for me to attend, then she says that, okay, you can't do this at this particular time. So depending on where you find yourself, you need to be very strategic and very time conscious, because you don't want a situation where you are like you go to work and then your team is not excited about the work you are doing, right? So before you go to sleep, you need to plan in your you don't necessarily need to write it down, but in your mind, as Daniel said, you need to be very, very psychologically prepared. You need to psych up your mind that if I want this job, then I have to put in a lot more than like what I would normally do if I didn't want the job. So what really worked for me was my planning and constant communication with my team. Yeah, thank you.
I think those are amazing answers, and they're very important for everyone to take note of. One, utilize your team. All of them, if you guys are coming in early and leaving late, so are they, and they have been doing it for longer than you. So if you can get information from them, it's going to be very helpful. Two, also when you get home, or maybe even when you're waking up really early, that commute, that 30-minute commute or hour commute or 15-minute walk that you have to work, go on, have an app. I usually have CNBC when I was at JP Morgan. Some people have different apps, and you just scroll through the top news of that morning so that you're at least knowledgeable when you walk in the door. And so I think all of those points were really, 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 really good. Um, and so I wanted to speak on being a person of color or being a woman. What specific, maybe not issues, but complications or anything that you had that you noticed that when I walked in and I was the only black woman on the team, or I walked in and I was the only black person in my whole division. How were you able to navigate that space, understanding that the first thing people do see about you isn't your intellect per se, but it's who you are, your skin color, your gender, the way you dress, et cetera, et cetera. So if anyone wants to talk about their experience on that and how they navigated it, I think it'd be great, especially as we're talking to a lot of women and a lot of people of color on this webinar.
Okay. So if I hear, um, just to comment on my experience, I'll say thankfully I did not have too much. I did not experience any form of being let out because I was the only woman or the only woman of color in whatever in my division. So in my division, I have quite a number of, I mean, not too many, but then we had a number of women of color. So I can mention about not had like 3 people on my team or in my division that were women of color. So it was like, okay, you are not the only black or colored person in here. So it was good to have people like that who had been there, because by the time they were entering, there were like no women of color. So it's like they were breaking the grounds and setting the standard and the pace for some of us to come in to have a freer ground. So for me, I really did not have any experiences with any negative experiences because I was a person of color. But to talk about women, I would say that between men and women, there are differences. And talking to senior leaders, interacting with senior men, MDs, senior leaders, women in leadership in my division, what I realized was that for my division per se, we had very few leadership. I'm talking about managing director positions. We had like just one woman at the time I was there, because a couple of, or let me say two, and then one was moved to another division. So talking to them, what I realized was that between men and women, we're different. And our success stories can be the same, right? So for a woman, say you get married, you have kids, all those things come in, you have to take maternity leave, and all those things kind of pull you not like a step behind, but then you need to consider that when looking ahead in the future and all that. So I think what I learned is that it was good to interact with such women, to learn from them, because they are been in the bank for a while, they've been married, they've had kids, and they know how it's like. So just sharing, learning from them, their experiences really helped me too, because I realized that talking to the men, the experience won't be the same, because for them, they'll be in the bank like all year through, but for a woman, she could probably go on maternity leave, and that could be like a little step back, not like just in quotes, a little to like kind of retract for a bit and then go look after the family, come back and stuff like that. So it was good to really interact with women who were in leadership and who have had experiences like that. So talking about how to get help, combining your family and then your work, so that you're also moving ahead with your family, moving ahead with your career. So it was a good thing for me. So learning from women, I would say that it's good to have, apart from a mentor, career mentor, which I had one, the bank gave me one, and a personal one. You should also have like a woman mentor, because the story for that, the advice a man could give you will not always be the same as what a woman can give you from experience as a woman. So it'll be good to have that. And then also with the color, really, from my experience, I had very few negative. I really did not feel that being a woman of color put me in a different place, really. So yeah, that's what I'll say from my experience. Thank you.
Perfect. Does anyone else want to give their insight?
Okay. Yeah. So just like if I didn't have any problem at all with being a woman. There were so many women on my team, and also I was the only person from Africa on the team, and to me that was like one of the biggest advantage, because I made them excited about Africa. That I used, which was always the starting point of my conversation, was about talking to them about our culture here in Africa and in Ghana, some of the nice places that you could visit if you like decide to come to Ghana. Like I was always making them excited about Africa. That was, I think, one of the things that made my team really like me. There was no day that I would go to the office and not talk about Africa, because I felt they knew nothing about Africa. They thought like, Africa is such a beautiful place. I'm like, there's so many countries in Africa. So I think it was an opportunity to educate them about Africa, and it was very exciting. My team went to the extent of having an African night or a Ghanaian night. So we all went to a Ghanaian restaurant, from the MD to to the analyst, and everyone went with me to a Ghanaian restaurant. So I think that it depends on how you play with it. If people pass certain comments and you take offense, like right away, it works against you. Imagine if maybe they said, "Oh, Africa is such a beautiful country," and then you get angry. That's like you missing out on an opportunity to educate them, because it's not their fault. I mean, you don't know so much about other countries either. So it's always an opportunity to educate people. With the issues about having a mentor and all these things. I think Ifwa covered it, so I won't go much into that. Thank you.
Thank you. So that was such a great answer, and I love it. And I'm so happy that you represented your identity not only as an African, but as a Ghanaian woman very well. I tell all of my mentees this. I didn't have a great experience with being a person of color. I don't think it really was about me being a woman, but it was about me being a person of color at one of my internships. And the ways to navigate that is to never feel like your identity is holding you back. If someone isn't, registering with you being a black person, with you being a female, with you being Asian, with you being whatever, that is your opportunity to not only teach them about who you are and your culture and and about your abilities, your prospects. Like you're way beyond just a black person. You're way beyond just a woman. There's so much more in you, and you have to show that. And then also a great product. People can be mad that you're black in the office. People can be mad that you're a woman in the office. But at the end of the day, if your results and your product and your deliverables are top tier, they can't really say anything because they want that work. They want someone who has that quality. And so always make sure that you're results driven and that you always feel confident and regardless of whoever's around about your identity, who you are, and make sure to stand in it and hone it because when you do, then you can do what Abna did and you can have people excited and interested about your life and about your culture and about your background. And even one of my friends within my past internship, she cooks like jollof rice and wache for her team all the time. And she brings it in and they're like obsessed with Ghanaian food now. And so it's always a way for you to show other people who you are. And so since time is far spent, I do have a lot more questions, but I think I'm gonna give every person a question and maybe give you like 1 or 2 minutes to answer it. So I would say, Afua, can you please describe the
Hi,
company
Dana.
culture?
Sorry, can I go first since I have to rush
Oh,
into a
yes,
training session right now?
definitely. So can you describe Bank of America company culture?
Okay, so the culture is very open. I think one of the things that I really liked about the bank was everyone was genuinely interested in your progress and also your development. I like the fact that irrespective of who you are, you could thrive in the bank. Um, I like another thing I really liked about the bank was responsible growth because it to me it meant that the bank was not only interested in maximizing profit or getting revenue, but also interested in its employees and also very interested in the community that they found themselves in. So that was what like really made me excited about the bank, and individuals were also always willing to support and help. So yeah, thank you so much for having me, and I'm sorry I have to leave now. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Thank
Bye.
you so much. Bye. And then I'll ask Afua. So, what is the importance? Can you please describe the importance of um, I'm sorry, not mentorship, feedback, how to get it, and then how to apply it effectively in your internship?
Great. Thank you so much for this question, Diane. So, feedback is actually very important if you're really going to do well in your internship. So, personally, what I used to do was always keep my manager updated on what I was doing. So, I had weekly reports which I used to prepare for him. So, on what I had done over the week, during the week, the work I had done, just to keep him updated. In those feedback sessions that I would give him, he would also give me feedback. So, me giving him feedback on what I had been doing, he would give me feedback, any things I should look. And it was really helpful because now I know what I'm doing right, so I can keep doing that right and then do it better. And then I can also get feedback on what I'm not doing so good, so I can work on those things. So it's good to always seek feedback. So even if you're in a team where you find that you don't get them outrightly giving you feedback, you should be the one who can actually go to your manager, go to some of your team members, go to people that you've networked with, and then, or even your mentor. The bank will give you a mentor, your buddy, make use of that too, just to get feedback on that, like, because they see you, people see you, they see what you're doing, what you've been up to, and they can tell you that, okay, so I see you doing this, I think it's great, keep it up, or I see that you're not doing this too well, you could also hone this skill more, or just work on that better. So also we have this for my division, we had like final presentations, and then for that final presentation, what I did personally was to have like a number of mock presentations with my team. So in those mock presentations, I was able to get feedback on how to get my presentation shorter, like more succinct, more straight to the point, all the good things you can think about. So it was through setting up things like that, I was able to get feedback. So feedback is actually good, makes you better. And then it's not just about being able to take feedback, it's being able to apply yourself to feedback. So when they tell you that you need to maybe do more of your PR, just let people know all the good things you're doing, just talk more about it. It's not just about hearing it and like, okay, they said I should just work more on my PR stuff, but then you actually work on it, because it shows that you're really able to learn fast, you're able to take on feedback. And then I think the bank is looking forward to that. Someone who is not going to be like, okay, you told me to do this, I don't really care, or like your message, yeah, you told me to do this. You won't say it directly, but your actions are saying that you told me to do this, but like I really couldn't be bothered about doing it, so I haven't worked on it. I couldn't be bothered. So when you're able to work on your feedback that you get, it shows that you're able to learn, able to adapt really. So that's what I'll say about feedback. It's really important. It actually helped me a lot on my internship. So yeah, thank you.
Thank you. And then lastly, Daniel, what would you say are the resources that interns should take advantage of during the internship and also after the internship? Because your internship is it seems long when you start, but it flies by. So making sure that you follow up with certain people after you're done with the internship, etc. What is your general advice?
Thank you very much. I think Bank of America has done very well when it comes to getting in touch. So when we start our trainings, they make sure that the previous interns who have had full time, that's those from Africa, those who use the African program, who've had full time to actually talk to us and network with us. We actually get the opportunity to talk to them, ask them a few questions how they made it, and they tell us, they give us the tips. So in the end, we build the connection, and we get to know them very well. We get to even talk to them in an informal way, which is a good thing. So before, even as far as you start the internship, you have to make sure that you get the opportunity to network with the African interns first, because they can come down to your level in an informal way to tell you the things that you are doing wrong, the things that you're not doing too well, the things that you need to do to up your game. And you need to also get in touch with almost everyone in your team and around your team. Earlier made mention of talking to people in other things, which is very, very important. It's not only your team that you need to consider talking to. You need to consider other teams, because people look at what you've been doing. It's a good thing. People actually study you. They even ask around, what do you think about Daniel Asante? Then if you don't leave good impression while you talk to them, they will say bad things about you, which is very, very important. So you need to talk to past African interns who are currently who currently have full time. Talk to everyone on your team. Talk to everyone. Don't single out people. People feel, if you single them out, they feel you're not someone you can talk to. And if they brand you as such, that means they're not gonna give you the offer. So make sure that everyone on the team, you talk to them. People around your team, make sure you talk to almost everyone. Let them see that you're a lovely person. You are not someone who is introvert. Let them know that you are extrovert. You really want to know everyone. You really want to know what people do. People are happy to discuss what they do. So you need to talk to everyone, but you make sure that you keep in touch with the African, those who had full time. Thank you very much.
Thank you, and thank you guys for all of those amazing answers to all my various questions. So I would just like to say thank you to our panelists, Afua, Daniel, Abna, and Kezia. Even with all the network issues, we still got it together. So thank you guys so much. If anyone is interested in contacting them, I will definitely send your contact their way and they can follow up with you as necessary. And again, we are all a resource to you to ensure that you get your career where you want it to be, your internships, your jobs, anything that we can help, we are definitely here for. Lastly, we are going to be having another career booster with, I believe, Microsoft in the next upcoming week. So if you're interested in Microsoft, Goldman Sachs, BCG, McKinsey, Bain, Accenture, Deloitte, EY, PwC, please follow the Yielding Accomplished African Women page and all the amazing things we're doing, and hopefully join us and our family. Thank you guys so much again. And if there's any last things that you want to say, the floor is yours. And we are happy that we completed our first Career Booster webinar series. So,
Right. Yeah, I think I'm on. Yeah, so just to say last words, it was great to be on this session. I'm looking forward to help. I interned again with the Global Transaction Services Division, and I'm open to helping anyone who might need it to just probably get in however I could help. I'm happy to help. Yeah, you can always reach out. This is Ifa, by the way. Thank you.
Hello, this is Daniel. Thank you very much for this session. It's been wonderful. And if you have any other questions, Daniel will send around, our contact that you can ask. We are all there to help you. Thank you very much.
perfect. Thank you guys. And as they said, they're available, they're willing, and so take use of them. These are your connections at Bank of America if you didn't have any of them before. And so we will see you guys another Saturday. Bye, everyone.